Hello, Soil Secret Studio family. Welcome back to another guide designed to transform the way you think about your garden. If you've been treating winter as a time to simply wait for spring, I have some exciting news that will change your approach forever. While the world above ground sleeps under frost and snow, an incredible opportunity exists right beneath your feet to cultivate the most powerful soil amendment nature has ever created. And it's happening through the humble earthworm. The invisible army, why worms matter in winter. When temperatures drop and your garden beds appear lifeless, a remarkable transformation is occurring in the soil depths. Earthworms, those tireless engineers of underground ecosystems, don't simply vanish when winter arrives. Instead, they burrow deeper, seeking refuge below the frost line, where temperatures remain stable and hospitable. This isn't hibernation in the traditional sense, it's strategic survival. These creatures continue their essential work of processing organic matter, creating tunnels that will become highways for oxygen and water, and depositing castings that contain 5 times more nitrogen, 7 times more phosphorus, and 11 times more potassium than the surrounding soil. The difference between a garden with an active winter worm population and one without is staggering. Come spring, plots that maintained thriving worm communities will explode with growth, while others struggle to awaken from dormancy. Building your underground haven. Creating a winter sanctuary for earthworms requires thoughtful planning and the right materials. Begin by selecting locations in your garden that naturally retain moisture and receive protection from harsh winds. Areas along south-facing walls, beneath evergreen trees, or in raised beds work exceptionally well. The foundation of your sanctuary is a generous layer of partially decomposed compost spread directly on the soil surface, ideally applied in late autumn before the first hard freeze. This base layer should be at least 2 to 3 inches thick, providing both nutrition and a welcoming environment for worms to access easily. Over this foundation, add 6 to 8 inches of loose, carbon-rich mulch materials. Straw proves particularly effective because its hollow structure creates countless insulating air pockets, while remaining loose enough for worms to navigate. Shredded leaves mixed with cardboard strips work equally well, as do wood chips for larger garden areas, though these break down more slowly. The key is creating a layered blanket that traps heat generated by microbial decomposition while preventing the soil beneath from freezing solid. For maximum protection in harsh climates, surround your garden beds with bales of straw or bags of leaves to create wind barriers. And consider covering particularly vulnerable areas with old blankets or burlap secured with landscape staples. Life below zero. What's happening down there is really quite fascinating. Beneath your insulating layers, a microclimate emerges that, well, defies the frozen world above. The combination of decomposing organic matter, microbial activity, and the Earth's natural geothermal properties maintains temperatures that hover around 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, even when surface conditions plunge below freezing. Within this protected zone, earthworms remain surprisingly active, feeding on the decomposing material you've provided and continuing to process it through their digestive systems. Each worm can consume its own body weight in organic matter daily when conditions are favorable, transforming raw materials into rich, biologically active castings. The tunnel networks they create serve multiple critical functions throughout winter. These channels allow gases to exchange, preventing anaerobic conditions that would harm beneficial soil organisms. They provide pathways for water infiltration, meaning that when spring thaws arrive, moisture penetrates deeply rather than running off frozen surfaces. The castings deposited throughout these tunnels create nutrient hotspots that plant roots will discover and exploit when growth resumes. Perhaps most remarkably, the mucus that earthworms secrete as they move through soil acts as a binding agent, creating stable aggregates that improve soil structure permanently. This winter work sets the stage for everything that follows. Benefits beyond the bloom: long-term soil health. Worm castings represent perhaps the most complete natural fertilizer available to gardeners. Unlike synthetic fertilizers that provide a quick burst of nutrients followed by depletion, castings release their nutritional payload slowly and steadily, matching the uptake patterns of growing plants. They're rich in beneficial microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and protozoa that continue working in the soil, suppressing diseases and enhancing nutrient availability. The humic acids in castings improve the soil's cation exchange capacity, essentially increasing its ability to hold and deliver nutrients to plant roots exactly when needed. Beyond nutrition, the physical improvements that earthworms create prove equally valuable. Soils rich in worm activity drain better yet hold moisture more effectively, a seeming contradiction that results from improved aggregate structure. Compaction, the silent killer of many garden beds, becomes virtually impossible in worm-rich soils because the constant tunneling and casting activity maintains porosity. Root penetration becomes effortless, allowing plants to establish deeper, more robust root systems that access water and nutrients far below the surface. Gardeners who maintain active winter worm populations consistently report needing less supplemental watering, less fertilizer, and experiencing fewer pest and disease problems. The investment in winter worm care pays dividends that multiply season after season. The true revelation comes when spring arrives and you peel back the protective mulch layers. Where you might expect cold, lifeless soil, you'll discover dark, crumbly earth teeming with earthworms of all sizes, their castings visible throughout the profile. The difference in soil quality compared to unprotected areas becomes immediately obvious. The texture, the smell, the ease with which you can work it all testify to the winter work that occurred beneath the surface. This transformed soil will warm faster in spring, allowing earlier planting. Seeds will germinate more reliably, and transplants will establish with minimal shock. Integrate this enriched soil throughout your garden by gently mixing the surface castings into planting areas, or simply plant directly into the worm-work zones and watch what happens. Many gardeners report cutting their fertilizer applications by half or more after establishing winter worm sanctuaries. The explosive spring growth you'll witness comes from soil that's truly alive, populated by billions of beneficial organisms, all working in concert to support your plants. Start planning your winter sanctuary now and prepare to experience gardening as it was meant to be, working with nature's own systems rather than against them. If you found this guide valuable, please subscribe to Soil Secrets Studio and share this video with your fellow gardeners. Together, we're building a community of growers who understand that healthy soil is the foundation of everything we do. I'll see you in the next video.